The Grand Arena of Kelvar 9 had seen countless warriors over its 3,000-year history. But never, in all those centuries of blood and glory, had it witnessed something quite like this. I should know. I'm Thrace, head commentator for the Galactic Combat League, and I've announced over 400 tournaments. I've watched Vraxian berserkers tear through solid steel with their bare claws. I've seen Quellan monks move faster than most species can blink. I've even witnessed a Torthan champion lift a battlecruiser engine above his head, just because someone bet him he couldn't. But a human? A human girl, no less? Barely into her second decade? That was just, well, that was comedy gold waiting to happen. Ladies, gentlemen, and assorted sentient beings. My voice boomed across the arena's 60,000 seats, each one packed with spectators from across the known systems. Welcome to the Kelvar Invitational, where the galaxy's finest warriors compete for honor, glory, and a prize pool of 15 million credits. The crowd roared. Mandibles clicked. Tentacles waved. Someone in Section 42 released a cloud of celebratory spores that security had to quickly neutralize. My co-commentator, a four-armed Kelthian named Grax, leaned toward his microphone with all the enthusiasm of someone announcing a funeral. Thrace, before we begin, I have to address the Kronar in the room. Oh, you mean the human? I chuckled, pulling up her file on my display. Yes, let's talk about, oh my stars. Her name is Maya Torres. Age, 19 standard years. Height, 5 feet, 4 inches. Weight, 120 pounds. Grax's antenna twitched with what I'd learned to recognize as disbelief. For our viewers keeping track, that's roughly half the size of our smallest registered competitor. She's from Earth, a planet that only joined Galactic Society 8 months ago. 8 months. Most species spend decades preparing for their first tournament appearance. Her registered fighting style is... I squinted at the screen. Mixed martial arts? What does that even mean? She mixes her arts? Is that supposed to be intimidating? The human girl stood in the preparation area below us, and I zoomed the broadcast camera in on her. She looked almost comically out of place among the assembled warriors. To her left stood Brock the Unbreakable, a 9-foot-tall Torthan whose muscles had muscles. To her right, Slivex the Swift, a Quellan whose reflexes were so fast she'd once caught a plasma bolt mid-flight. And there was Maya Torres, stretching her tiny human legs, her dark hair pulled back in a simple tail, wearing what looked like basic training clothes. No armor, no ceremonial war paint, no intimidating weapons, just a girl who apparently didn't understand what she'd signed up for. Now, I don't want to be cruel, I said, though my 3 hearts absolutely did want to be at least a little cruel. But what exactly does Earth's combat delegation think is going to happen here? Did they not receive the tournament briefing? Grax pulled up the bracket. She's matched against Vortak Skullsplitter in the first round. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. Vortak? The same Vortak who hospitalized his last 3 opponents? The one who's banned from fighting on 6 different planets due to excessive brutality? The very same. Somebody call medical. Better yet, call advanced medical. Maybe prep a resurrection team, just in case. The human girl finished her stretches and looked up toward the commentary booth. For just a moment, our cameras made eye contact, and I swear on my ancestors' trading charter. She smiled. Not a nervous smile. Not a, please don't hurt me smile. She smiled like she knew something we didn't. All right, folks, I announced as the preparation timer hit 0. Let's get this tragedy started. First match, Maya Torres of Earth versus Vortak Skullsplitter of Draxos Prime. Combatants, enter the arena. The roar of the crowd shifted to a low murmur of confusion as Maya walked out. She didn't strut like Vortak, whose every step shook the arena floor. She didn't teleport in dramatic bursts like some fighters did. She just walked, like she was heading to class or meeting friends for a meal. Vortak, meanwhile, made his entrance with all the subtlety of a supernova. 12 feet of corded muscle, covered in battle scars that told stories of 100 victories. His forearms cracked with anticipation, each hand large enough to crush a small vehicle. The bone ridges along his skull gleamed under the arena lights, having literally split the skulls of lesser opponents, hence the name. He looked at Maya and laughed, a sound like boulders grinding together. "Human child," his voice thundered across the arena. "This is your chance to withdraw. I am feeling generous today. I will let you leave with your honor intact and your bones unbroken." Maya tilted her head, studying him the way a mechanic might study a particularly interesting engine problem. "That's really nice of you, but I think I'll stay." "Your funeral!" Vortak beat his chest with all 4 fists, creating a rhythm that had the crowd cheering. "I have killed beings twice your size before breakfast." "Yeah?" Maya's voice was quiet, but the arena's audio pickups caught it perfectly. "How'd that breakfast taste? Did the guilt add flavor, or—" Grax's antenna shot straight up. Did the human just mock Vortak's skull splitter? "I think she did," I replied, genuinely surprised. "Either she's incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Possibly both." The referee, a neutral Kelthian official, stepped between them. "Fighters, you know the rules. No killing blows, no permanent maiming. Fight continues until submission, unconsciousness, or I call it. Touch gloves and— Wait, humans have gloves for this?" Maya held up her wrapped hands. "Close enough." Vortak sneered and extended one massive fist. Maya reached up, and her entire hand disappeared when she tapped his knuckles. "Begin!" The referee leapt backward with impressive speed. Vortak wasted no time. He lunged forward with a 4-armed attack that should have turned Maya into a very small stain on the arena floor. Should have. The human wasn't there anymore. "What the—" I leaned forward in my booth. "Where did she go?" Grax pointed. "There! She's behind him." Indeed she was. While Vortak's devastating attack hit nothing but air and arena floor, cracking the reinforced stone, Maya had somehow slipped past him. Not around him. Past him, through the gap between his second and third arm, a space that couldn't have been more than 2 feet wide and had been closing at incredible speed. Vortak spun, confusion replacing his earlier confidence. "Stand still, insect." "Now where's the fun in that?" Maya was actually smiling now, her feet moving in a pattern I couldn't quite follow. She looked relaxed, like this was all just an interesting game. Vortak charged again, this time leading with a sweeping attack designed to cover the entire area. No dodge, no escape, just pure, overwhelming force. Maya dropped, not backward, not to the side. She dropped straight down into a slide, passing under Vortak's massive legs while his 4 arms swept through empty space above her. As she passed beneath him, I saw her hand dart out, quick as a striking snake, and tap the back of his knee. Just a tap. Nothing more. Vortak stumbled. The crowd went silent. A Torthan warrior, famous for their unbreakable stance, their rooted fighting style, their ability to stand firm against a charging war beast, stumbled. "Did you see that?" Grax's voice was barely a whisper. "She hit a pressure point. Humans know about pressure points?" Vortak recovered quickly, but something had changed. The casual arrogance was gone, replaced by actual focus. He studied Maya like he should have from the beginning, circling her carefully. "You're fast, little human. Faster than you look." "Thanks. You're exactly as slow as you look, so that works out." The crowd actually laughed. Even some of the Draxian supporters couldn't help themselves. Vortak's eyes narrowed. "You think this is funny? I will show you." He never finished the sentence. Maya moved. I've watched the replay footage at least 50 times since that day, and I still can't fully explain what happened. One moment, she was standing 5 feet away from Vortak. The next moment, she was inside his guard, past his 4 massive arms, her small fist buried in his solar plexus. The sound echoed across the arena. Not the sound of impact, though there was that. The sound of all the air leaving Vortak's lungs in one explosive gasp. Then she was gone again, back to a safe distance, while Vortak staggered. "What?" I jumped up from my seat, my tail lashing in excitement. "Did everyone see that? The human just punched Vortak's skull splitter, and he felt it." Grax was reviewing the footage. "Thrace, according to our sensors, that punch generated 7,000 pounds of force per square inch." "That's impossible. She weighs 120 pounds. "I'm just reading what the sensors detected." In the arena, Vortak had recovered his breath, but his expression had transformed completely. This was no longer a game, no longer a quick match before lunch. This was a fight. He came at Maya with everything he had. All 4 arms moving in perfect coordination, feet creating miniature earthquakes with each step, his entire body a weapon designed over millennia of evolution to dominate the battlefield. And Maya? Maya flowed. There's no other word for it. She didn't just dodge his attacks, she seemed to flow around them like water around stones. A fist the size of her head passed millimeters from her face, and she bent backward, using the momentum to spin away. A kick that could have shattered steel came at her midsection, and she turned it into a pivot point, redirecting the force while she slipped to the side. "She's not fighting him," Grax said, and I heard actual wonder in his voice. "She's fighting with him, using his strength against him." "That's ridiculous. That's physics. You can't just—" Vortak threw a haymaker with all 4 arms converging on one point. Enough force to crater a bunker. Maya stepped in. Toward the punch. But she was inside the arc of his arms, where their length became a disadvantage. Her elbow snapped up, catching Vortak under the jaw. Her other hand struck his exposed ribs. A knee came up into his midsection. All 3 strikes landed in less than a second, in a space so tight I wasn't sure how she even fit. Vortak grunted, actually grunted in pain, and tried to grab her. But she was already moving, and somehow she had his arm, the massive appendage wrapped in her grip. She stepped, turned, and Vortak, 12 feet and 600 pounds of Torthan warrior, flew. Actually, flew. He hit the arena floor hard enough to crack it, and the entire stadium went absolutely quiet. Maya stood over him, not even breathing hard. "You done?" Vortak looked up at her, and I saw something I'd never seen in all my years of commentary. Respect. He started to laugh, deep, genuine laughter that shook his massive frame. "I yield. By the old gods, I yield." The referee rushed in. "Victory to Maya Torres of Earth." For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the arena exploded. 60,000 beings from across the galaxy jumped to their feet, their claws, their tentacles, their various appendages, all making whatever noise they could. The sound was deafening. I found myself standing too, my prepared commentary completely forgotten. That was... Grax finished for me. That was the biggest upset in tournament history. Down in the arena, Maya helped Vortak to his feet, which was hilarious given their size difference. He had to bend down considerably for her to reach his hand. "Where did you learn to fight like that, human?" Vortak asked, loud enough for the microphones to catch. Maya shrugged. "Earth. We've got like hundreds of different fighting styles, Thousands of years of people figuring out how to beat opponents bigger and stronger than them. I just learned a bunch of them. A bunch? Vortak shook his head in amazement. How many? I stopped counting at 12. But hey, good match. You're really strong. And you are really terrifying. Vortak grinned, showing off his impressive teeth. I like you, small human. Try not to die in your next match. As they left the arena, I finally found my voice. Well, folks, I think we all just learned something important today. What's that? Grax asked. I looked at the bracket, at the tournament that suddenly seemed a lot less predictable than it had 10 minutes ago. Never, ever underestimate a human, especially not the small ones who smile before a fight. The crowd was still going wild as we cut to commercial, and I could already see the betting odds shifting across every board in the arena. Maya Torres, the 90-1 underdog, was now rated as a legitimate contender, and somewhere in the back of my mind, a small voice whispered that we hadn't seen anything yet. The girl from Earth had just announced her presence to the galaxy, and the galaxy, for once, was paying attention. The second-round matchups were announced an hour later, and I watched the arena's main display with considerably more interest than before. Maya Torres, still looking like she'd just finished a light workout rather than dismantling a legendary warrior, was scheduled against Cythera the Venom Fang. Oh, this is going to be interesting, I muttered into my microphone as the crowd settled back into their seats. Grax pulled up Cythera's stats. Reptilian species from Nexor 7. Specialized in toxic attacks and lightning-fast strikes. She's won 43 consecutive matches, 37 by poison-induced paralysis. And our human friend doesn't have scales, armor, or apparently any sense of self-preservation. I watched Maya enter the preparation area, calmly sipping from a water container. Though after what we just witnessed, I'm hesitant to write her off. The betting boards told their own story. Maya's odds had shifted from 90-1 to 12-1. Still an underdog, but now one that people were actually putting money on. The arena's atmosphere had changed too. Where before the crowd had viewed her as entertainment, a novelty act before the real fights, now they watched her with genuine curiosity. Cythera emerged from the opposite tunnel, her scaled body gleaming green and gold under the lights. She moved with predatory grace, each step deliberate, her forked tongue tasting the air. Unlike Vortak's brute force approach, everything about her screamed calculated danger. Human child. Cythera's voice was a hiss that somehow carried across the entire arena. I watched your previous display. Impressive, for one so young and soft. But Vortak relied on strength, alone. I am not so limited. Maya set down her water. Cool. I like variety. You misunderstand. Cythera smiled, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth. My venom works through skin contact. One scratch, one bite, and your nervous system will betray you. Your own body becomes your prison. That sounds really unpleasant, Maya said, and I noticed she was studying Cythera's movement patterns even during the pre-fight banter. But you've got to actually touch me for that to work, right? Cythera's eyes narrowed. Arrogant. Just asking questions. The referee called them to center arena. This time there were no glove touches, no shows of respect. Cythera's species didn't believe in such customs, considering them weakness. Begin! Cythera struck immediately, her body uncoiling like a spring. She was fast, incredibly fast, her clawed hands trailing wisps of visible venom as they sliced through the air where Maya's face had been a microsecond earlier. The human twisted away, but barely. Cythera's follow-up came instantly, a spinning tail strike that Maya had to duck under, then a snap kick that forced her to backstep. The human's in trouble, Grax observed. Cythera's controlling the engagement completely. He was right. Unlike Vortak's powerful but telegraphed attacks, Cythera's strikes came from unexpected angles, her flexible spine allowing movements that would break most species' backs. Maya was dodging, but she was being pushed back, giving ground. Cythera hissed with satisfaction. Yes, run, little mammal, but this arena has walls, and when your back touches stone, you are mine. Maya didn't respond, too focused on avoiding the relentless assault. A claw passed centimeters from her shoulder. A tail strike nearly caught her ankle. Cythera was hurting her, driving her toward the arena's edge with calculated precision. "Come on, human," I whispered, surprised by my own investment in her survival. "Show us something." Maya's back was 5 feet from the wall, 4 feet, 3 feet. Then she stopped retreating. Cythera's eyes gleamed with triumph as she launched a 4-strike combination designed to finish the fight. Claw, claw, tail, bite. Each attack coated with enough venom to paralyze a Torthan. Maya's hands moved in a blur. She didn't block the attacks. That would have meant contact with the venom. Instead, her palms struck Cythera's wrists, redirecting each claw strike millimeters off target. The tail came around, and Maya dropped into a crouch that took her under its arc. The bite followed, Cythera's jaws snapping shut where Maya's throat had been, except the human had tilted her head at an angle I didn't think vertebrate necks could achieve. And throughout it all, she was moving forward. "Impossible!" Cythera spat, scrambling backward now. "How are you—" Maya's foot lashed out in a low sweep that Cythera jumped over, but that had been a feint. While the reptilian was airborne, Maya pivoted and struck, not with her hands, but with her shoulder, slamming into Cythera's midsection the instant she landed. The impact drove the air from Cythera's lungs and sent her stumbling. "You want to know something funny?" Maya asked, circling now, and I realized with shock that she had completely reversed their positions. Now Cythera was the one near the wall. "On Earth, we've got these things called snakes. Reptiles, kind of like you. Some of them are venomous too." Cythera hissed, feinting left, then striking right. Maya swayed back, letting the claws pass. "And we've been dealing with them for, millions of years? We got really good at not getting bitten." Maya's voice was conversational, but her eyes never left Cythera's center mass. "There's this whole art form called snake-style kung fu, basically studying how they move, how they strike, how to counter them. I am not some primitive earth reptile." Cythera launched another assault, faster now, desperate. Maya moved through the attacks like smoke. "No, you're way more advanced, way more dangerous. But the principles are the same." She caught Cythera's wrist mid-strike, not grabbing it, but striking the pressure point with surgical precision. Cythera's hand spasmed, venom spraying harmlessly into the air. "You're still working with a spine, joints, muscle groups, and those all have limits." Before Cythera could recover, Maya stepped in close, too close for the reptilian's longer reach to be effective. A rapid series of strikes hit nerve clusters along Cythera's ribs, her shoulder, her neck. Not hard enough to cause damage, but precise enough to disrupt. Cythera's left arm went limp, then her right. Her tail twitched uselessly. "What have you done?" Cythera's voice was panicked now. "Temporary nerve disruption. It'll wear off in about 20 minutes. Maya stepped back, hands raised peacefully. "You can yield, or I can keep going until something more permanent happens. Your choice." For a long moment, Cythera stood there, proud and defiant despite her paralyzed limbs. Then, slowly, she lowered her head. "I yield." The crowd erupted again, but this time the cheers were different. Less shocked, more appreciative. They were watching artistry now, not just an upset. Medical staff rushed in to help Cythera, and I saw Maya explaining something to them, probably about the nerve strikes and how to treat them. Even in victory, she was concerned about her opponent. 2 for 2, Grax said quietly. Thrace, I think we need to reconsider our analysis of this human. I think we need to reconsider our analysis of all humans, I replied, watching Maya wave to the crowd with genuine friendliness. If one 19-year-old can do this, what's their entire species capable of? The tournament continued, and Maya's progression through the brackets became the story everyone was following. In the quarterfinals, she faced Crix the Unkillable, a cybernetically enhanced warrior with reaction times measured in nanoseconds. She won by systematically destroying his mechanical components with targeted strikes, then outweighting his battery life. In the semifinals, she fought Thorax of the Hive, an insectoid champion who could split his consciousness among 17 different body segments. She won by identifying the prime segment through careful observation, then focusing everything on that single target. And now, somehow, impossibly, Maya Torres stood in the finals. Her opponent, Xyloth the Eternal, current reigning champion, undefeated in 3 years, a master of every documented fighting style in the galaxy. This is it, folks. My voice was hoarse from 5 hours of continuous commentary. The finals of the Kelvar Invitational. The unstoppable force meets the immovable object. The experienced champion versus the rookie sensation. Xyloth entered the arena to thunderous applause. He was humanoid, which was unusual at this level, standing about 7 feet tall with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer. His species, the Etherians, were known for their perfect muscle control and their ability to learn any physical skill after seeing it once. He had studied every one of Maya's fights. Maya entered from the opposite side, and the applause that greeted her was just as loud. In 6 hours, she'd gone from joke to genuine contender, and the crowd loved her for it. Young human, Xyloth's voice was calm, almost gentle. You have impressed everyone here today. You should be proud of what you have accomplished. Thanks. You're pretty impressive yourself. I have watched you fight. You use earth techniques, yes? Blending multiple styles into something uniquely effective. Maya nodded. That's the idea. Then this will be educational for both of us. Xyloth settled into a fighting stance that I recognized as traditional Quellan defensive form. I have mastered 642 distinct fighting styles from across the galaxy. Show me what Earth has created in isolation. The referee looked between them. Fighters ready? Begin! Neither moved. They circled each other slowly, and the arena fell into hushed silence. This wasn't like Maya's previous fights, where she'd been the smaller, faster opponent against stronger foes. Xyloth matched her mobility, exceeded her reach, and possessed knowledge that dwarfed her experience. Maya struck first, a probing jab that Xyloth deflected with textbook precision. She followed with a low kick that he checked, then a spinning elbow that he ducked under. Every technique she used, he had a perfect counter. He's reading her like a manual, Grax said. Every move she makes, he's already prepared for. Xyloth counterattacked, flowing through Vraxian claw techniques into Torthan power strikes into Quellan speed combinations. It was beautiful, like watching a master painter at work. And Maya? Maya was struggling. She blocked what she could, dodged the rest, but for the first time all day, she was being overwhelmed. A strike got through her guard, catching her shoulder. Another grazed her ribs. Xyloth was faster, stronger, more experienced, but he wasn't landing clean hits. Wait, I leaned forward, studying the pattern. Look at her stance. She's not trying to win exchanges anymore. What's she doing then? Learning. It was subtle, but once I noticed it, it became obvious. Maya was letting Xyloth showcase his techniques, watching how he moved, how he transitioned between styles. She was taking hits, but nothing critical, nothing that actually damaged her. She was studying him. Xyloth noticed too. His eyes narrowed slightly, and he increased his tempo, trying to overwhelm her before she could adapt. Too late. Maya's next combination was different. She started with a Quellan-style speed strike that Xyloth automatically countered, then shifted into what looked like Torthan power positioning. Xyloth adjusted his defense accordingly. Except Maya didn't finish the Torthan technique. She blended it into something else, something that wasn't in any galactic database because it came from Earth. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, transitioning into Muay Thai, flowing into boxing, all wrapped around the alien techniques she'd just observed. Xyloth's counter missed. Just barely, but it missed. Maya's elbow caught him clean on the jaw. The champion staggered, shock evident on his face. "How did you—" "You know 642 styles," Maya said, breathing hard now. "That's amazing. But I don't think any of them were designed to blend with Earth techniques. Your counters are perfect for what you know. But this?" She gestured between them. "This is new." Xyloth smiled, and it was genuine. "Clever. Adapt what I show you and combine it with what I cannot predict. But I am still faster, still stronger." "Yeah," Maya admitted. "You really are. But I'm stubborn." They clashed again, and now it was a true contest. Xyloth's superior attributes against Maya's unpredictable combinations. The arena shook with the force of their exchange, techniques from a dozen worlds blending into something neither purely alien nor human. A Quellan sweep met a judo throw. A Vraxian claw strike countered with a Wing Chun deflection. A Torthan power stance broken by a wrestling takedown. Back and forth they went, neither able to gain decisive advantage. Minutes passed, then more minutes, both fighters pouring everything they had into the contest. Then Maya did something I'd never seen before. She stopped trying to win. Instead, mid-combination, she shifted her entire approach. Not to attack, not to defend, but to equalize. Every move Xyloth made, she matched with something of equal force. Every strike she threw, she calibrated to exactly counter his response. They weren't fighting anymore. They were dancing. Xyloth realized it too, and his expression shifted from competitive focus to something like wonder. They moved together, techniques flowing, neither gaining ground, neither losing it. Just two masters of their respective crafts, pushing each other to their absolute limits. The crowd was mesmerized. It couldn't last forever. Human stamina, it turned out, had limits that Etherian physiology didn't share. Maya's movements began to slow, just fractionally, but enough. Xyloth could have pressed the advantage, could have ended it. Instead, he stepped back. "You cannot win," he said simply. "Your body will fail before mine." Maya nodded, gasping for breath. "Probably, yeah. But you have already accomplished something remarkable." Xyloth bowed, a gesture of deep respect in his culture. "You have shown me techniques I have never encountered, combinations I never imagined. In 3 years as champion, no one has taught me as much as you have in these minutes." "So what happens now?" Xyloth considered. "Now? Now we finish this properly." He settled into a stance that incorporated elements of everything they'd both used. "Show me your best, human, and I will show you mine." They met in the center of the arena one last time. The exchange lasted exactly 47 seconds. I know because I watched the replay so many times I memorized it. 47 seconds of the most technically perfect fighting I've ever witnessed. No wasted movement, no hesitation, just pure skill meeting, pure determination. When it ended, both fighters stood facing each other, fists extended, each one's strike stopped centimeters from the other's face. "Yield?" Xyloth asked quietly. Maya smiled. "Yeah, I yield. The referee called it, and Xyloth was declared the winner. But as the champion raised Maya's hand alongside his own, as the crowd gave them both a standing ovation that lasted 5 full minutes, I don't think anyone in that arena considered her a loser. "Folks," I said into my microphone, my voice thick with emotion I didn't bother hiding, "I've been doing this job for 20 years. I've seen champions rise and fall. I've watched legends being born. But I have never seen anything quite like what we witnessed today." Grax nodded. "The human didn't win the tournament, but I think she won something more important." "What's that?" "Respect. From every species here. And maybe, just maybe, she showed us that Earth isn't just another planet full of primitives playing at civilization. They've been developing their own path, their own strengths, and now they're here to share it with the rest of us." Down in the arena, Maya and Xyloth were surrounded by fighters from every match, all wanting to talk to her, to learn from her, to understand these Earth techniques that had proven so effective. The betting boards showed her final odds, 2-1 favorite to win next year's tournament. One tournament, and Maya Torres had gone from joke to contender to future champion in everyone's eyes. As I signed off for the day, I had one final thought to share. To everyone who bet against the human in her first match, thank you for funding my new spacecraft. And to anyone who still thinks Earth doesn't belong in the galactic community, I've got 5 words for you. I paused for dramatic effect. Never underestimate the humans. They've been fighting each other for thousands of years, perfecting the art of combat in isolation. Now they're here, and they're not just participating in our galaxy. They're going to change it. The broadcast ended, but the legend of Maya Torres, the tiny human who smiled before every fight and changed everything we thought we knew about combat, was only beginning. Somewhere, probably already on a transport back to Earth, Maya Torres was planning her training for next year. And the galaxy, for the first time in a long while, was excited to see what happened next. Because if one human could do this, what would happen when more of them arrived? The answer, I suspected, was going to be spectacular.